Hi, Amy. I'm so happy to have you here today and hear about your current experience in the Ignite Your Life reset. You are in your ninth week of the 10-week program, correct?
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and I thought it would be wonderful to capture your energy at this stage in the process because I've been observing you going through the process and what's unfolding, what you're learning and understanding about yourself in the process. And I'm just seeing such a positive result come from this. So, yeah, thanks for joining me today, Amy.
Welcome.
Yeah, and well, I'm curious what initially inspired you to do the reset? Like you had heard about it, but what had you say, you know what, I think I'm ready for this?
Yeah, I had heard about it from a good friend who went through it and was is a big fan. And what really got me to do it for sure was I wanted to see if I could. I went to the doctor for a checkup, and she wanted to immediately put me on medication for cholesterol, blood pressure, and oh, she wanted to send me to a nutritionist for my blood sugar because everything was high. And so I thought, no, I'm going to see what I can do. And then I just thought, I want to see if I can reset things. And I had been very curious about it. But mostly that is the reason I wanted to get those numbers down, my labs. And the other thing was my digestion. It just was off, and I was having a lot of distress and pain, and I just needed help. I needed and get things kind of back in on track. So mostly it was the labs and digestion stuff, and I just felt off. I felt completely off for a long time. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and if I can share something else you had noted or shared with me was just the idea, the ability to handle stress in a different way, in a
Oh, that's
healthy way.
right. Yes.
And that's something I've completely observed with you. And even, I think it was about a week ago, you noticed that you're just feeling more resilient, like not
Mhm.
as bothered by daily stressors or things in the world. Like they're still there, but they're not impacting you as much.
Yeah, that's one thing I've been working on and thinking a lot about is even before the election, was I helped take care of both my parents, and they're elderly, and there's just a heaviness with anticipating what is coming, with that, a sadness and stress. And I want to enjoy this time, not be bothered and stressed by it. And I travel quite a bit back and forth to Minneapolis to see grandchildren, and I work full time. Anyway, there's just a lot of going on for everyone. I definitely acknowledge that. But for myself, I just felt like I was in a whirlwind and sometimes almost drowning with obligations and, stress. So I just wanted to see if this would help, if the reset would help and kind of get back things aligned. And I mean, it definitely has helped.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. That's one of my biggest wishes and intentions for everyone who does this program is to come back to a state of calm and less impact of stress and just a kind of restored nervous system.
Yeah.
I feel like a big part of what supports that process is getting in sync with nature's rhythm. So we talk a lot about eating at the same time every day, going to bed at the same time. And when we do this, there's just less stress in the body. The body knows what to anticipate. The circadian rhythms become regulated, and then
Mhm.
this supports the nervous system, and cortisol goes down. And so it seems very simple, but just those steady rhythms and routines can have such impact on how we feel and how stress impacts us. So thank you for sharing about that, Amy.
Yeah, and it's not, it's like sometimes I think, why didn't I know this already? And why haven't I learned and figured this out already? But I just hadn't. And we're busy doing our thing, and we just don't sometimes take the time to listen to what's going on inside our bodies and in our heads. And eating at the same time each day not only has made me feel a little more calm, but it's so much easier to schedule, you know. It's really, and then it only makes sense that that time in between meals, your body's resting and well, that's probably working, but then kind of resting, and it's not the constant snacking that I mean, really, I had been doing for years. I can imagine. I've learned so much from you, and it's like your metabolism and everything never has a chance to just rest.
Mhm. Well, shifting a snacking habit is a really big deal. It's not an easy one because it becomes habitual. This is just what I do. And so making that shift, I really admire that you were willing to do that because it's not an easy thing to let go of or to shift. But I think it's more about shifting your awareness and about being nourished, nourished during your
Mhm.
mealtime. So there's not a physiological need for a snack. And then as far as the emotional aspect of snacking, just to observe that, like, what's that about? And just be aware of it more than anything.
Yeah. Well, the meals that you have suggested definitely satisfy and fill me up. And I don't, at the end of the meal, I'm not like reaching for sweets or, as I'm finishing up, I'm not already thinking about, okay, now what else can I eat? That's was such a weird habit that I really was in that. Not only that, but then the snacking in between. And I know it's a big shift, but it hasn't been that hard. I think because the meals are so complete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That makes sense. Well, I think, shifting habits, it doesn't necessarily stick if we shift habits for a couple of days, but a period of weeks. So 10 weeks in this program, connecting every week as a group, supporting each other and just having that witness and that chance to share. They say that it takes like 42 days to shift a habit. So the 6 weeks of eating in this way, plus the before and after sections of the program, support that. So that the idea is that once you go on from this program, these habits will have become grounded and integrated within you. So it's less of thinking, oh, I need to do this. It's just this is what's happening. This is what I do now.
Yeah, I feel like I know I can do it. And what's really helpful is that 2 weeks before, at the very beginning of the 10 weeks, the 2 weeks where we're talking and almost like preparing. And that was a really good time to be able to have so that when it starts, when the more restricted diet starts, it's not at the very first day.
Hmm.
You kind of have some time to ease into it. And then the 2 weeks at the end, where I'm in right now, it's nice to even just know that I had that to look forward to help prepare move forward. I don't know. It's very well thought out.
Oh, well, these last 2 weeks that you're in are actually two of the most important parts of the program because it helps you in integrating everything together, but creating your ongoing maintenance plan. And this next week, we're going to be going more into what's called Rasayana in Ayurveda, that's rejuvenation. So you've cleansed, you've released, let go of toxins, emotions, anything on all of the levels, has had an opportunity to release. And now we're going to restore and rejuvenate with certain foods and practices and herbs. So it's like you release, but then you complete in a nourished way. And so that is coming from Ayurveda. Like all the Ayurvedic cleansing programs always end with
Mhm.
rejuvenation. So
Mhm. I like that.
Yeah, I wanted to just touch back on something you mentioned a minute ago about, how you've known certain things, but it just hasn't clicked until now. And I feel like, throughout our lives, we gain a lot of wisdom and tools and awareness about so many ways to take care of ourselves. And what I've seen just in my practice all these years is, especially as women, it's really easy to override. It's like, yeah, I know I should be doing this, or I feel better when I do this, but I have all these duties to work and family. And we can just go on overriding. Oh, I'll get to that later. Or maybe, next month I'll bring that practice in. And so
Mhm.
it's really because we're so strong and resilient and adaptive, we can do that up until a point when the body says, wait, 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 this is not
Yeah,
sustainable.
exactly. And I think I think I reached that point of just not, it's like I had to do something and I wanted to do something. It's like my body was saying to do something. And I do feel a lot better. And I feel better in my body for sure.
Do you feel like you're surprised by that, or is there anything that is surprising you about this experience?
Yeah, like I had mentioned last week, I believe to you, that I've never trusted my body. And I always had a negative opinion of it. And being in this, a lot of girls and women do, and it's just such a waste of energy. And well, our bodies carry us around the world. I mean, we should be kind to our bodies and like them. And such a simple notion, but this has made me trust my body also, that I know my body is healthy and it works for me, and I know what to do now to help it, you know. So it's really been a great, yeah, that's a little bit of a surprise
Yeah.
that, um, I that I trust and I like I like being in my body. That's really been kind of a wake up.
Mm. I can't think of a better outcome than that. How you feel and how you feel in your body and feel about your body.
Mhm. I know. It's really, really good. And I did lose weight, and that's great that there were I had excess weight, so that's good to get rid of that. But even more so, I feel better.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and the idea is that these results will continue, they will stick because we've literally been shifting your metabolic set point and creating new pathways in your body. And so it's not like after 10 weeks, this is complete. It's like it will go on, it will continue, it will expand. So I'm excited to see what's ahead for you, Amy, and definitely want to hear from you in the weeks to come about, any blood test results or just other things you're noticing.
For sure. Yeah, I will definitely be in touch. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been great, and I would highly recommend this program. It's really been good.
Yeah. Do you feel like the timing was important for you? Like one thing I've noticed is for people who've been interested in the program, the timing has needed to be right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because you spend a lot of time, I've spent a lot of time in the kitchen. And if I were traveling, or I've taken a couple weekend trips during the 10 weeks, and that's been okay. But the meal planning, which is actually fun, it's makes it easier. Um, but I think it's easier to do that when you're in your own kitchen
Hmm.
and have your own stuff and in your own space. And so the timing for that and the timing I just think that I was ready in my head
Hmm.
to do it. I looked forward to it, and I just was ready. And if you're, I wasn't like on the fence. at all. I knew I wanted to do it. And so I was ready and I was home for most of the 10 weeks.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think, 1 or 2 weekends out of town is doable, but if we're going to spend 1 or 2 weeks or longer, like you said, it's just ideal to be close to your own kitchen. You can eat out a little bit, but you don't want to make it a habit during this process. So I think
Right.
that timing did work out well for you. And yeah, you've been such an inspiration throughout, Amy, just watching you committed to the process and to your well-being. And yeah, I'm just so delighted to continue to watch you flower.
Thank you. It's been so great. I mean, you've been so supportive. Even, when I text you little questions, you get right back to me or email or anything. So I have felt very, very supported.
Oh, thank you so much, Amy.
Yeah. And the other good thing about doing this is I feel I have been held accountable.
Hmm.
Even though you've been so nice and you never get frustrated if people fall off or whatever, but I in my head I knew I wanted to be held accountable. So it was
Hmm.
it was great to have you on the sidelines.
That can really make the difference, I think, for a lot of us, is to have someone watching, observing, and encouraging along the way. Because left to our own,
Right.
we can buy a book and follow a program for a little while, but if we stick to it, it can be another story. So
Exactly. And it's like you were this gentle, nice cheerleader throughout the whole thing.
it's my pleasure, Amy.
Yeah. It really helped. It helped me a lot.
Oh, so, so happy. Well, thank you for sharing with all of us. Yeah, you are inspiring us to take better care of ourselves and to trust our bodies. That's the main message. The main teaching I'm feeling from you now is just trusting the body. The body knows, and
Mhm.
that's something to celebrate.
Yeah. And the more I learn about Ayurveda, the more I want to learn. It's very interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, and especially because you have a background in practicing yoga. And Ayurveda and yoga developed side by side thousands of years ago. So Ayurveda can really complement a yoga practice so
Mhm.
much. So I think, yeah, you'll continue to be delighted by what you learn on this path.
Yeah, it's really been good.
Okay, well, have a wonderful weekend, Amy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you too have a good weekend.